absolutely terrifying. Is this thing on? Am I on? I hope so. I certainly hope so. I see my face up there. I see a chat down there. Data entry. Look, we are big fans of the data and the entry here at whatever this is. Those of you who are new here, I don't think there are any, and I would be surprised and mildly perturbed to find anybody here who is new and does not know who I am. But if you're not, you may know me from... Actually, no, you may not know me. Do not perceive me. I forbid it. I forbid it. How is everybody doing? I hope folks are well. To those of you new to this particular series from the past couple of days, in which you get just my face right there at you. Don't worry. That will change to something less frightening shortly. I promise you that. That is the point of this show, to banish me to that corner over there shortly. So we'll get to that very soon. But first, for anybody who hasn't been here before, first of all, welcome in, Struggle Bus. Welcome in, Tea with Unicorn. Good to see you both here. And hey, no worries. Just I'm a touch quiet on the mic. All right, I can fix that. How's that? Is that any better? Hopefully. If not, I will simply adjust my mic ability. Fingers crossed. So anyway, for anybody who hasn't been here in the previous shows, I've been taking a look at this game. Put it right there so the thing can see it. Anyway, been taking a look at this game. It's taken us 3 days to get. There we go. About that far. So we're not even halfway through, but I think the rest of this book that we're going to get through it a lot faster, because we just spent a lot of time going over the base system and the characters, which is what most people are most curious about. And then we're just going to kind of speed over the setting and details and whatnot. And then I will give a final judgment, or not. No, this isn't that. I mean, yes, I do get judgy. I do get very nitpicky, but I do that because I love this game so far. I love Penumbra City so far. I'm looking forward to playing it. I am offended at what they did to the gunslingers in the game, but I believe they can do better. I believe in them. And if watching a increasingly disheveled middle-aged man ramble on for hours at a time about obscure tabletop RPGs is your cup of tea, if you will. I cleaned up the previous streams. I cleaned them up, and I cut like an hour's worth of digressions and just me staring off into the distance and pondering, making them short and punchy 2-hour videos. They're over on the YouTube, which I would link, but that sounds like work. That sounds like work, which I'm probably not going to do. But it is, however, much easier to have these on YouTube than it is to try and get Twitch to save them, and then nobody sees them anyway. So, with all that said, that is our intro. Let's go ahead and do a quick intro for the YouTube video. Welcome in. I am going to continue with my review of Penumbra City, the tabletop RPG. There we go. Look at it on camera. Beautiful. I'm just going to go ahead and switch, and let's see where we left off. Boom. Beautiful. Look at this technology, science that lets you banish me to the corner. Let's go ahead and adjust this a little bit. Here we go. Oh, can I adjust? Oh, there we go. Twitchy. Okay, cool. Yes, I like that. Okay, so reasons why editing is important. So I mean, they're on the. I should just. You know what? Give me a second. I have the technology. I can just do this. I can just go here, and then just go here, and go view your channel, right? And then I can just simply go ahead and do I have a playlist? Yes, I do, because I've been putting the videos on a playlist. And we go view full playlist, and we just grab that link, right? That playlist link, which here we go. There we go. Share, then copy, and then I just switch over tabs. Look at this, like a person that knows what to do with technology, and I just paste that there, and I go YouTube playlist, and I spell YouTube correctly, as you do Look at that. That is on the chat for Twitch. If you're watching this on YouTube, then you're already on the YouTube. You don't need this. You don't need this from me. You're already there. But if you're on Twitch and what you're about to witness strikes your fancy, and you're like, oh boy, I wonder what else Dan has said besides apparently bitching about gunslingers for fully half of part 2 and part 3, honestly. Well, here's your chance. There's a playlist, and you can see the cleaned up versions of just my ramblings, which is really what I'm trying to. Thank you. I really like this overlay too. I picked it up on Etsy, I think. Etsy, or one of the, yeah, 99% sure it was Etsy. So let's see. Oh, by the way, I figured out, Struggle Bus, I figured out how to see when the ads are coming. You have to be kind of watching it on the on the Twitch side. I was watching it on the OBS side. But since I'm not going to be switching scenes very often, let's see. So anyway, let us continue, because when we last left off, we had seen all the different character types up to and including. Let's go ahead and remember them. Do a little memory lane. Let's go back to where we first listed them off. No, these are the districts. These are the, okay, here we go. The classes. So we got the classes. We have the Clackers, and they are the Mad Bomber / Mad Hacker. They were declared dope. They can make little bomb buddies that walk around or fly around and explode with various effects. They also have access to the Clacker network, which is a set of decentralized difference engines built in the sewers, which we are withholding judgment on, because though the idea seems dope as fuck, we have yet to see what difference engines, if anything, they can do, other than, I guess, being a faction for information. But they have yet to be properly defined in game terms. You know, in game fiction, we kind of know what they are, but there hasn't been a lot of detail. So while we think Clackers are dope, we are withholding judgment on certain parts. Corsorian Knights, who are anarchist knights who go into a battle trance, and they have their own personal tenets. Those were dope as fuck. They are tanks. They are meant to take damage and keep coming. They will not die. Absolutely dope. Big fan of the Corsorian Knights. Dog Girls, they have, you know, custom-built motorcycles. They're super mobile. They know everybody everywhere. They are mounted combat specialists, scouts. We love them. Everybody loves them. That's part of the whole deal. Big fans, again, of the Dog Girls. Ex-Marines, you've got power armor. What more needs to be said? Oh, one more thing. They can literally, hey, thank you for that, but also that's, likely harasser or restricted. Wow, the mod thing is working here. Cool. Let's see, can I just block? Is this a thing I can do? Just block right here? Manage suspicious user? No. Can I just straight up? Here we go. Thank you for trying to add your services. Big fan of that. All right. So where was I? Ex-Marines, power armor. Right. You can take guns and just add more gun to it, like just extra chunks of gun, and just add more guns to the guns when you are an ex-Marine. And then the gun falls apart when you miss, but until you miss, and you best not miss, you are dope as fuck. The Fungalians are barbarian street poets who also have magical mushrooms that they take for their powers. They are brutal. They get in combat. They are unstoppable. They are weird. I love them. The Gas Lampers are surprisingly good. I didn't think I was going to like them. They're middle class people on horses with swords, and yet they are also extremely useful in this game. Extremely useful in various parts of this. Very combat capable, and also very good at what this game is actually about, which is coalition building. It is very much a game about building connections, despite all this talk about combat. The thing is that you're building connections so you can fight things, specifically the God Kings. Short may they reign, long may they fall. And then we ran off. You know what? Wait, give me a second. I gotta adjust this camera again. This. Here we go. There we go. Right. Okay, so the gunslingers. After all these badass players, okay, I'm not gonna stay too much. If you, I just watch the previous 3 freaking hours that I've done on this, um, I was just disappointed because everything else in the game is very cool, very imaginative, and then gunslingers just felt like very limited in their progression. You only get slightly better guns as opposed to some of the really wild shit that the other character classes get. So I was real disappointed with that, mostly because I know they can do better. Like, for example, with the Labor Thugs. Labor Thugs I was very worried about, but they turned out to be dope because they are parkour, parkour, parkour all the time. They are also incredible combatants, and they're very good at organizing people and getting them to do what needs to be done. What more do you need? 100%, 10, 10, almost enough to make me forgive the gunslingers. Lordlings are OP. They're basically rich kids dabbling in other classes, but if you've got the person in your game who just absolutely loves multi-classing, sure, give them the Lordling, dope. Occultists are the wizards. They're... What did I decide on? Okay, so I like them. But I feel like I hope there is more discussion on the magic system and the curses because they felt very limited, and also their specific ability to talk to the dead and astrally project really gave me some pause, in the same sense that stuff like any game system that forces you to make the game all around one player while that power is going on, and also that power is like their main thing, like a hacker in Cyberpunk Red or a netrunner in Shadowrun, where when they do their thing and they go into the Matrix or whatever virtual environment, the rest of the party just sits around. The other players can usually go make a sandwich because for the next half an hour it's just that character show. And unfortunately, I felt like the occultist had there was a chance that that's what was going to happen. Um, so it's my only concern. Otherwise, though, I like it. There's a lot of stuff that I would just house rule, and it's just personal preference. But overall, still very positive. And then the last two classes, the patchworkers, they're the healers and the stabbers. They start with 16 scalpels, and they will use all of them given half a chance. They are horrifying in the way they heal, the way they work, but also they are deeply necessary for all factions. They're very interesting in that sense. I did have some minor concerns about how their mechanic of being able to switch factions, how that's presented almost as a mechanical way of automating their character. It's hard to put into words why it didn't sit right with me, but like I also said in previous part of this review, I'm not the one who actually managed to get a hardcover tabletop RPG game published and playtested. My stuff has not been playtested, so I'm willing to bet that this was hopefully playtested well enough that it actually came up at some point and it is not a problem. I may be wrong about some of these things. Keep that in mind. Bucket of salt. And then finally, the Rat King. The Rat Kings are psychic kids who control swarms of rats. I don't know what else you need me to tell you about that other than that is awesome. That is dope as fuck. So again, it's 1, 2, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 11 out of 12 ain't bad. But with all that said, now we're going to go to the actual setting. So the chapter is how things work around here, and we're not going to read the entire book. I'm not about to. I'm not about to do that to you. I'm not about to do that to myself. I'm not about to do that to the game creators. But just to get a view of what the game is like, what it looks like, and what the setting is. So technology, see, things work a little differently around here than wherever you're from, because they work a little differently around here than anywhere else in the world. And they work a little differently than they used to just 10 years back. So interesting. I like that. I like that. Recent history, and from what we know of the setting, again, this is a whole world. Can I find the map real quick? Because this is a World of Harrow game, and it's a world with god kings and wars between kingdoms, but the game itself is, of course, since the name is Penumbra City, it is focused on Penumbra City, for which there's a map somewhere around here. Should I have bookmarked it? Yes. Did I bookmark it? No. You know what? I believe we'll run across it when we need to run across it. Let's just go with the flow and see where it takes us. Anyway, point is, this is all very focused on a city, and I think this little bit alone here, where it's like things work a little different around here than wherever you're from, because they work a little differently around here than anywhere else in the world. There is magic and there is weirdness that is specific to Penumbra City, and hopefully we're going to get into a little bit of it. So technology, so there's airships, radio towers, music playing from the speakers, or if you're in a fancy enough place, electric lights. So there's electric, there's airships. This is not quite steampunk because there is straight up electricity. Although I guess steampunk can have electricity, but see, that's the part that you edit out on YouTube. At you. Does steampunk have electricity? Chat. Does steampunk is electricity? Yeah, I think so. A lot of steampunk has like bulbs and lights and stuff. Yeah, electricity is fine in steampunk. So we're still in steampunk territory. There's also dog's wheels, those huge mechanized bicycles. There's also steampunk tanks. They specifically mention that the tanks run on steam, so there is that. And then the kingdom that you're in is Ath, which is the most technologically advanced country in the world. If you ask a priest, they'll tell you it's because of the god, kings, engineers, but that's not true. We're the most technologically advanced country in the world because of the hard work of the working class. That's right. That's right. You thought you came here for a tabletop RPG, and you're still getting that, but also this is socialism. No, seriously though, this game is about community building. It is actually outwardly, openly a communist, socialist, anarchist game. You are meant to be part of the revolutionary, the resistance really against an oppressive and tyrannical fascistic god king. Okay, so that straight up, this it's not an undertone. It is not a subtext. It is the text. So don't be too surprised. Part of the reason I like the game. Let's see. In particular, we owe a lot to the machinists from the industrial workers of Harrow. The engineering marvels of the outsiders have been putting together for generations. It's a shame those marvels have been harnessed for the war machine of a god king. Exactly. Okay, so we have electricity. Not going to go into the full history of it. Let's see. Wait. Catching up on chat. Steampunk technically doesn't usually have electricity, but it's more like galvanics or dumbed down levels and relies much more on steam or whale oil to perform actions. All that said, it's fine. Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. Like, it is still it's a variation on steampunk. I'm not going to. I mean, we can probably figure out, but I'm not going to, because otherwise we'll be here for another 3 hours. I'll probably figure out why they prefer steam power to electricity. But I mean, again, it's also, there is literal magic and magical mushrooms in this world. So, and an ether and ghosts. So there's radio. Cool. There are radio towers in town. There is, I'm just scanning real quick. The Reasonable just got themselves a radio station too. The Reasonable are sort of the centrist class. You've got the Revolutionists, which is most of the player characters. You've got the Bulwark, which is a conservative faction, and then the Reasonable, who are sort of the centrist faction. And you can tell what they think of themselves by what they call themselves. Just checking over there. All right. So let's see what we've got. So basically, the Revolutionists have little, pirate radio. You've got the Reasonable just got themselves radio station 2. Pyramid airwaves, bit on point. Run, of course, by the Lords of the New Order. Lords of the New Order are one of the factions, and they are mostly rabid capitalists. Not fan of them. Let's see, and of course the Bulwark, the conservatives, have a couple of stations. So I like this. I like the fact that they have radio is built into this to the point where, like, here, this is quests. This is all quests. Defending radio stations from the other factions, running your own radio station and informing. That's a whole campaign right there. This couple of paragraphs alone, you can build a campaign around that, and I love that. Machines, we got electricity, we got radio, we got mechanical vehicles, long steel snakes move around the city. So we got public transportation, we call them trains. Trains, we love trains here. There's bicycles that have an awkward habit of exploding. Dog's wheels, we love those. And all these things are powered by burning coal. We don't love that so much, but also it's the setting. Yeah, part of the whole thing is that there's this cloud of coal above which sits the city of silver, where the rich live. Fuck those guys. Um, and let's see. Machines, magic. Engineers have been cranking out flashy marvels for a couple decades now, but of course the most powerful force in society rooted in magic. So we've got the physical. So we've got electricity, radio, and machines, but also separately we have magic. We've got the planes, the material. Oh wow! So a whole proper mythology explained, a whole proper like magical system, separate planes. I'm not going to dive into this on stream because I'll leave this for you to discover. But I like that there is at least this exploration, because I felt like I didn't really get enough of it in the occultist section. Um, that said, this is definitely just setting. This is not stuff that will directly affect my character in game terms, which is fine. I love setting. Don't get me wrong, but let's keep in mind I am still looking for like more stuff. Yeah, a little bit more crunch for the occultists, because I still feel like the occultists are a good idea that perhaps focuses too much on the one thing that would make them annoying to have on the party. You know, I would like to see more of the cursed stuff, but I don't think I'm going to get a lot more of it, unfortunately. Or a lot more details on hermeticism. Yeah, this is just that. But again, there might be a part later on explaining all sorts of different spells. I hope so. That'd be dope. Again, this is just like quick explanations, hopefully. So let's see. So Mycomancy, so we've got magic, got hermetic magic, which is apparently magic that fucks with the rod, fucks with the barrier between the realms. Cool, I like that. Again, I hope that means we're getting spells later on. Same thing with Mycomancy, is using mushrooms for weird shit. Big fan of that. Healing. Cool. So... Okay, so cool. So you've got healing is interesting because there's two kinds of healing. Yeah, there's using it with mushrooms, which is gross. It is established in world and in game that it is a gross way to go. And then there is the hands of God. They are wizards. They are priests, yes. But their power is basically hermetic magic. But the secret of healing with hermetic magic. Yeah, exactly. They drag angels out of the ether, sacrifice them, absorb their power, and then use that power to heal the living. Seraphic healing. They reach into heaven, drag angels down, and sacrifice them in order to pass their life force. That's evil. That's fucked up. Are angels nice? Wait a minute. Now I gotta go back to the previous part here. Tell me a little bit about the ether. Ether is heaven. Sure. The church. The Hermetic Order of Nothing Kings, the God Kings have perverted the simple natural act. When a human dies, the partial of the rot. Traveling to the ether. Okay, so wait, this is even worse. Whenever a living thing dies, those two essences, the agape and the thelema, depart for the plane next, each cycling in a different direction. When a human dies, their agape, their love, departs for the rot, where it resides in the putrid mass. Demon stew. Yum. So your emotions, all that stuff becomes demon stew. When pieces of that mass in the rot die, their agape is transmuted once again, traveling to the ether where it resides in an angel. When that angel dies, it moves back again to the material. The thelema moves in. So, without reading any further, these fuckers are literally... It's necromancy by another name, right? It's basically it's a nasty kind, because they are literally taking the soul. They're calling them angels. It's what we call angels. What we call angels in this world is just the souls of people who are just about ready to come back. They've been purified, and they are about ready to come back to their next round. And before that can happen, these fuckers, the hands of God, I see what they say, terrifying bastards. They drag angels out of ether, sacrifice them, absorbing their power, and then use that power to heal the living. Seraphic healing is sort of gruesome, but for the pious, like anyone else in the bulwark, it's just how you get healed. Sometimes it leaves little scars that glow with white light. Every now and then this game just comes out of nowhere and absolutely, uh, absolutely goes dark, and I love it. Um, so yeah, so healing, and then on the other one, the other version, of course, just as horrific, honestly, more gruesome, is mycomancy, patchworking. Um, it requires donor material, so patchworking almost as gruesome, but it requires living. They're literally patching skin on top of your wounds, um, and then letting mushrooms just meld it all. Um, but you do need donated, like the healers in this game, the patchworkers. Part of their system, their process, is carrying around a jar full of preserved human bits and skin, lots of skin, so they can then literally patch you up. Um, but you know, generally speaking, the people that they took the skin from weren't using it anymore, and then it's just mushrooms. So while it is gross, I'm gonna go ahead and give it the good old Dan seal of less ethically problematic than taking the literal purified souls of the unborn and snorting them up like angel crack for power. You know, call me controversial, but that's where I'm gonna draw that particular line. Um, anyway, healing in this game exists and is gross. Get that on a stamp, right? How to get by. All right, so this is just kind of a day in the life and what it's like in the city, what it's like in the various territories. Which I almost feel bad that I'm not going to read through the entire thing, because whenever I do dive in a little, I discover something horrifying and wonderful, like the healing there. Um, but also, I ain't trying to just give away the whole book, right? But given what we are fishing out, I'm excited. I'm sure there's wonderful things in here, so excited for that. Um, but again, I'm just I do like that we are getting this quick information. They have a writing style that is gets a lot across in just enough words, right? These don't need to be super long, super detailed sections. They are atmospheric. They feel good. It feels like the right amount. Um, so let's go to diversity, race, and gender. Lots of people around here will look a lot of different ways, so that's great. And they give you, I like that even though it's not necessary, I don't feel like a game needs to justify its diversity, but also I like that there is the history of, like, here's how this happened, and we're not papering over the rough parts of that. Um, so I like that these things. Again, it is a very openly revolutionary, openly socialist game. So these things will matter within the setting. It's not just stuff that is presented there, or it's, like filling a quota or anything like that. This matters because these things will play a part of the various coalitions and factions and groups that your characters are going to be working with and occasionally fighting against. So I like that. Getting around. So here's how you move around the city. Let's see. So a while back. Okay, so the city isn't rough shape. One of the things, like, this city is not doing great. We touched this back in. We touched on this back in previous parts of this sort of overall deep dive. But there is a war going on. The city is in that war, and things are not great, especially for the people down in Penumbra City, not up in the silver with the rich. So when it says that there used to be streetcars, but nobody can spare the coal for that kind of thing anymore, like, it is rough down here. So you need to keep that in mind. You're not going to be able to just call a cab. You know, it's going to be a little bit difficult. You know, and again, this is just the vibe of the city, right? The closed down side. Um, and then you've got the dog girls who will get you anywhere. Yeah, cool, cool, cool. I like, again, lots of little details. Access, the Undercity, the Areni. Let's see here. A note from the creator. Okay, so this one I actually want to read because this is direct from the creators, and I feel like maybe might as well let's go through it. We have 2 minutes till we go to ads, so let's see if I can get through this before we go to ads. I don't want this to get cut off there. So, a note from the creators. We have chosen to present a world in which the forms of oppression that characters face rarely revolve around identity, such as race, ethnicity, sex, or gender. This was done because it is, in the end, a game designed for players to enjoy. We want to encourage all sorts of players, and for many, it isn't fun to engage in a fantasy world where the same oppressions plague them as they do in the real world. If your gaming group feels otherwise, feel free to alter the world to better suit your needs. It might be enjoyable, for example, to roleplay a war against the homophobic church or navigate nativist factions that might be in any of the coalitions. We have also chosen not to write in specific rules about the use of mobility devices and prosthetics or specific game mechanics for disability, since there is at the moment no consensus on the best way to do so. Some groups might want to use rule sets where disability has impacts on the game mechanics, while others might prefer the disability and accessibility devices only add flavor rather than altering the rules. Mechanical prosthetic limbs of any level of technology are possible, and hermeticism and patchworking can be adapted to treat or mitigate various disabilities. Whether characters want a steam-powered battle wheelchair or want their occultist to have a seeing eye familiar, many things are possible. We encourage you to discuss this with your group before you begin. I think the ads already kicked off before I finished, but oh well. So I'm just gonna... Yeah, let's see. Is this... I have no idea if this just reset ads or what. Maybe I am looking at this wrong. I have no idea. Chat, let me know if you're trapped in ad land. This will definitely get edited out. Now that I know how to do it, and the how to do it, by the way, is pay money. Pay money to... unfortunately, I can't afford to pay money to an actual human editor, but there is software. You pay the money for the software, and then there's software that does automates a lot of the editing. The bulk, honestly, just the little busy work, and then I can just get down to just cutting the big chunks that need to go away. So, big fan of that. I don't know how long the ads last. It's like 3 minutes, so I'm just gonna kind of keep going because at the end of the day, the YouTube one, which is getting recorded, doesn't get the ads, not that same way. So I'm just gonna keep going. Just gonna keep going. So languages. So they make a point. They make a point in this one of the various character classes keep on doing it. I am doing it. You can't stop me. They make a point of giving the various character classes specific language abilities. I originally thought that there might be some kind of specific mechanic around that because they made such a big point, but now that I'm looking at it, I think it's definitely more of a setting flavor mechanic in that each language, it's not just, oh, you know, do you speak Elven, do you speak Dwarvish or whatever. Each language has a history behind it. If you speak Sori, you are probably from Corsora, or Corsori, I believe, which is where the Corsorian Knights are from. And that's going to flavor certain things about how people interact with you. So, yeah, for each one of the chosen languages, there is a history there, and there are points to them. They will matter during your faction building, coalition building things. So while it's not necessarily a mechanical benefit, I might give bonuses. Like if I was running this, I might give bonuses or advantages or disadvantages on certain roles based on choices of language, but it's not so directly built in. But I think that's the approach you need to take with the languages. They do matter in the sense that each one brings a history with it, and their use is deliberate. It's not a gatekeeping thing within the game, like, oh, you can only get the clue to this puzzle if one of your characters knows Dwarvish. Oh, nobody knows Dwarvish. Well, it's just gibberish to you. Well, you can still certainly do something stopping you from doing something like that. That's kind of not the point of the language proficiencies. I think it's more about opening certain doors in terms of how to interact with the various people in the world. And then, okay, so now we've got a whole history. Here we go, finally found that map. There's the history, the country, the history of the country, the history of the city itself, and what went wrong in your life that you ended up in Penumbra City. There's that map. We're just going to kind of bring that up to the camera a little bit. As we've mentioned before, we don't get a lot of art in this game, but when we do get it, we certainly appreciate it. Oh, this way. There we go. Look at that. How beautiful. Hey. Oh. All right, beautiful. Anyway, we got that. We got our maps. We've got our descriptions. Okay, here we go. So this is where you're really gonna. I mean, this is nice to have the history of the country. This is good to have. And as players, I would, and this definitely as GM, would recommend go through this before the game if you want to really get the flavor of it. Wait, catching up with chat real quick. Takes the idea of dialects and upgrades up to whole different languages, right? Emphasizes people to use other members of the party to talk to different groups and settings. Exactly. And now that we've got this general history, now we can go into the specific sections of the city. We've got the Plaza, Penumbra South, Old Town, the Outs, the Dead Quarter, South Docks, the Iron Quarter, North Docks, and of course the Silver and the Shadow beneath it. Oh, Penumbra North, which I think are the Outs. Anyway, all these sections. And as you can see, we get a lot more about each one, and this is nice. So you'll get a whole more info about the Plaza. We get some art regarding the Plaza. That's nice. Guessing that's a radio tower. This would be the Ireni Federation, the main sort of coalition of good guys. And then we've got, which I liked, so some notable people, notable persons in that area. So some built-in, NPCs for the GM to and the players to just have, which is nice. This world that is actually slightly, populated. They don't really need stats because it's not that kind of game. I mean, if you're gonna attack them, we'll see. Let's see. So again, description of the Iron Quarter, art, people, North Docks, people, South Docks, people, etc. We're just going to go through these real quick. Dead Quarter, which is the graveyard where the outsiders have been squatting for apparently generations. I'm not sure if it's still squatting, if it's been generations at that point. That's their place now. Cool. And then the Shadow, what's under the Shadow. And then not quite Penumbra City. So we've got two areas. So there's the Silver, which is the big city that floats in the sky, which casts the shadow. It is where the rich people are, where the God King is, and generally speaking, you want to get up there and kill the God King eventually, or do something about the God King. I'm not saying necessarily kill, but do something about the God King. That's where you're gonna go. So we got a little description of that, and then the Undercity. Because if you want to go dungeon delving in this game, sure. Who are we to stop you? Here's your dungeon. Don't go into the Undercity. What's wrong with you? It's dangerous there. It's dangerous up here, but it's extra dangerous there. All the talk about ancient wisdom and ancient treasure, it's just talk. But hey, if you want dungeon delving, there it is. Also, there are mushrooms. There are mushrooms down there. Huge mushrooms that eat people. Reanimated mushroom corpses or something. Just bad stuff down there, which means I, as a GM or as a player both, I want to get down there. There's going to be cool shit down there, and I want it. And then the countryside just outside the city, in case sometimes you just need to get out until the heat is off you. And look, here we go, the rest of the world. I was wondering if we were going to see a little bit more of the World of Harrow, right? So let's see. We got the description of the Kingdom of Hern. These are I was going to say the main bad guys. So no, they're an enemy of the Kingdom of Ath. They're the people that you are at war with, or that the kingdom, rather, is at war with. Sword, this is where the Sensori Knights come from. Roth is, I believe these were traders, smugglers. Anyway, these are all the other Free Confederation of Kirik. So good. We've got a little bit of flavor from the rest of the world. And now okay, cool. So that was kind of like the history of the city and the places. Now we're going into the history of the revolution itself, the history of the factions. Good, because we did get a very sort of, here goes an overview of the factions and coalitions here, which is nice. And we got a little bit of, the mechanics of how, where is it? Reputation mechanics. for the factions, which was great. But now we're getting to the meat of it. Now we're getting all the different factions, all the different sub factions. Um, yeah, a lot more information and the various different services that those factions do, because there is, and this is part of what I liked about the game, there is a mechanical benefit to your players for building these factions, for actually doing the thing. And thankfully, they're good enough to actually detail that, what you can get from the various different factions based on your reputation with them. Big, big fan of that. All the various factions here. So cool, cool. I was worried that they were gonna make you as a GM sort of like make that up, but no, we got a really good amount of detail here. Um, let's actually, you know what? Let's take a look. I'm not gonna dive into all of them like the character classes, but since the Areni Federation is so central to it, I think it's worth a deeper dive on this one at least. Let's see. Up front was the overview. There's material for history checks and helpful game lore. Well, yes, exactly. No, helpful game lore, but not just helpful game lore. You know, it's not just flavor text, right? Here we got all the, especially for this specifically, we've got the you know, useful actual details, right? And again, these are meant to be like a really big part of what we're doing here in this game. So I like that we're given enough material, enough meat here to actually make that. A lot of games. Well, here's the thing. A lot of games that are a little bit more generic are sometimes more like, oh no, here's some really vague outlines of this world, and the rest, you know, you make it up at the table, which is fine. Let me be clear. That's not a complaint. But there is something to be said for games like this, where there is the flavor of it is honestly the most important thing about the game, because while the system is good and straightforward, it's not 100% groundbreaking, right? They haven't completely reinvented the genre here. The main selling point here is this setting, and I like that you are being given enough of this setting, it feels like, to really sink your teeth in without feeling completely held back. If this Areni Federation thing, for example, that we're about to dive into was 6 pages, that would be, I feel, a little bit too much. This feels like just enough. Like, again, I'm going to skip over it. What I want to take a look at more is the mechanical side. But let's see. Yeah, so we've got the history. So they were originally a theater troupe. Some fucking saints tried to conscript them. They fought back. The church showed up and burned the whole theater to the ground. And they federated, started talking to every theater group and gang, and they came together. Cool. Fucking love it. 10 years ago, everything goes to shit. Half the city needs feeding, so we expanded. That's the war. Yeah, basically the Areni Federation, everybody kind of loves them, or at least tolerates them, because they're the soup people. They own the plaza because that's where people come to get free soup from the Areni Federation. They feed the people, and you don't fuck with the people that feed the people. Is how it should be. Certain real-world circumstances and events recently might. Let's not get into it. Anyway, at a glance, so let's look at the mechanics. Oh yeah, and then we've got a new trick up our sleeves. Past few years, the Clacker Network. They've got difference engines, massive centralized thinking machines. We've got clackers who are building a decentralized thinking machine instead under our feet in the sewers beneath the plaza. Yeah, so hopefully we'll get a little bit more about that later. But in the meantime, let's see. So what we would get so their territory is the plaza. So they have engineers tools, a difference engine, mycomancy tools. So these are all the things that your characters will have access to if they are being welcomed by the Areni Federation. They have all this stuff at basic and fine levels. So they have bombs. The Areni do not produce much or trade in many material goods. They know everyone, however, and can offer most items except bolt throwers, dog's wheels, and exoskeletons. Items are acquirable at quality level lower than would normally be provided for a given reputation with the Areni. For example, a character would need a reputation of 4 to get a fine crossbow from the Areni Federation, which makes sense. They're not the people. They're the people you kind of start with, so they're not going to have the best equipment and everything. You work with other factions for that. They do have some fancy stuff. If you have the reputation with them, there you might be able to get some fancy gear. Except, of course, again, bolt throwers, dog's wheels, and exoskeletons. And you need a full reputation of 5 to get it with them, which again makes sense. This is not the equipment. They provide soup. They do soup and they do organizing. They have access to a difference engine, the Clacker Network, fine, which is a fine quality difference engine. They have basic patchworking services, services by reputation cost. Okay, so at Reputation 1, you have access to the plaza and soup. Soup. I like soup. Who doesn't want soup? At Reputation 2, you have access to the theaters and art houses around the plaza. Nice. At level 3, you get conflict resolution, which, with role-playing, can be used to repair negative reputation with any member of the revolutionists or the reasonable by slowly building favor with factions. I like that. So at level 3 with the Areni Federation, you can call them to help you out if you fucked up with any other revolutionist or reasonable faction, and they'll help you rebuild that. I like that. At level 4, you get permission to ask questions of the Clacker Network, or if a Clacker, full access to it. Interesting. Also, you need to be level 4. Well, I guess if you have a Clacker in the group, this is not that big a deal. Because until then, you had to go through your Clacker to get answers, to access the Clacker Network at all. This just means that at that point, the Clackers no longer the only people who get questions, and the one who is a Clacker gets more access to it. Which again, I hope we get a little bit more discussion of what exactly you can do with difference engines, because I feel like there's been several references to it, but I don't know the details yet. Overall, though, dig it. And level 5, insider information about the bulwark as can have been determined by any member of the revolutionists. Okay, so basically just info, which is, at these stages anyway, that's the most important thing. Solid. I like it. You compare that to some of the other ones. Yeah, okay, so basically here for the Fraternal and Sororal Order of the Gaslampers. Yep. Basically different levels of what they can offer. Yeah, I like this. Cool. Very good. No complaints there. On the contrary, kudos. Major kudos. Very much like this. It provides the information that I need for when my players make friends with one of these factions and then want to get something out of it. That's literally the most important thing that I needed. And we get that with the reasonable factions, some of which are interesting, like the Goetic Lodge. Nice. The Services of the Demon. If you get Reputation 3 with the Goetic Lodge, I love that. Lords of the New Order and the Skips. And then the factions. So we get a lot more about the Bulwark, which is fine. They're the main enemies, so know your enemy. You want to get a lot of info about the enemies, so I dig that. And then the Gloaming is the strangest faction within the Bulwark because it's the faction. Oh, these are basically. Okay, so these are interesting because the Gloaming is sort of a private army that exists. If I'm getting it correctly, there's sort of a private army that exists here. I'm just going back to the map real quick, if I can get it without going over. There we go. So the Silver Shadow here is kind of what the silver floats under. So this is always in shadow, and that's also where there's mushrooms. There's entrances to the Undercity. So these people technically belong to the Bulwark. They are their conservative faction, but they're also a private army that really just sits down there and makes sure nothing crazy, nothing too rough. I was standing way off camera, I just realized. Nothing really comes at the people, I guess. Which is why... the Gloaming is convinced that there's some kind of entity that lives under the city. A creature of darkness, where Ath is a creature of light. The foreboding, they call it, as if that makes any sense. They're preparing to go to war against the foreboding. But yeah, the elite among their ranks are the Under Knights, who, truth be told, make freaking forays into the Undercity. But to fight the monsters, we can't help but respect them for that work. Whether or not there is a foreboding, we suspect not. They're certainly monsters, and they certainly wreak havoc when they come to the surface. But sometimes so, the Gloaming decides that we're the monsters. The madness, as they call their behavior, is an act, and it isn't. They use their rantings to put up a wall between themselves and the rest of the city, and they pride themselves on their outlandish claims and styles. So they're basically like a paranoid a paranoid private army that is killing monsters and technically helping keep the city relatively safe from the things that are in the Undercity. But they are a paranoid and violent private army with conservative leanings. So, you take what you can get, right? You do what you can with what you have. Let's see here. The Lampreymen, the Royal Army, and of course the Silver itself, the city. Cool. All right, now we're back to rules. Looking at equipment, tool set sizes. Okay, so I like this. There are sizes, quality, and quality of equipment, and all equipment is kind of falls under these various categories. So you've got like your tool set sizes. So improvised tools, a basic set of a kit, a wagon, or a facility. So again, if you have, and then improvised quality, basic, fine, fancy, and masterwork quality. Cool. Basic divisions, as we'll see in the equipment, the quality of an equipment will affect the things that it can do. And with weapons, it specifically affects the damage they do, which is cool. Required equipment, how do you get it? Cool. Basic information and all that. The levels of reputation you need to get equipment, the various types of equipment from the various factions, and as we saw previously, just going back a couple of pages, you can see again for each faction which equipments they are willing to provide or able to provide rather at certain reputations. So excellent. That's a big way you can get to that. Oh, nice. I was afraid that it was going to be separate lists for each one, but no, this is a smart way to do it. If you want this type of item, so look at this. If you want a blowgun, for example, you've got three factions that can provide that: the Children, the Areni Federation, and the Gloaming. And then from that you go, okay, so if I want a fine blowgun from any of those federations, any of these groups, I would need reputation 3 with that group in order to get that. Very straightforward. I like it. And then, as we saw, some of the groups might, those reputation levels might be affected by the actual faction itself. So, cool. I like this. Good information. If you want a Dog's Wheels, you go to the Dog Girls. Nobody else but the Dog Girls. Love it. And fancy and masterwork gear by faction. Cool. Same thing. Love it. And here's the actual details. So here we go. Some examples of what different types of light armor. I like it, even though they may provide the same levels based on their quality, but they do give you some examples for flavor, basically, for description. Solid. I really like that, actually. And here's specifically what they provide with light armor. And some of them have. Okay, so nice. So you see that, like, for example, improvised and basic both provide the same basic level of protection, 2 armor points, which, without going back into the full rules, armor points are how much protection your armor provides you per combat. It gets reset every combat. Once armor has provided you protection against an amount of damage equal to its AP, then that armor no longer provides protection for that combat. But next combat, it comes back. So both improvised and basic light armor provide the same level of protection, but improvised adds a disadvantage die to all speed checks except those to defend against attacks. So this is why improvised is not as good as a good thing. I like that. I like that you can improvise something and there's specific rules for that. Solid. I like that. Heavy armor. Same thing. Exoskeleton does a lot more. It provides a lot more protection and lets you do cool shit like jumping 20 feet into the air. Nice. Shields are pretty limited, just light and heavies. Sure. And then the weapons. Okay, so let's look at weapons. So you've got axes, you've got clubs, knives, polearms. Interesting. So let's take a look at knives, for example. Knives include all daggers, throwing knives, scalpels, skinning knives, if you know, you know, shiving knives, kitchen knives, flint wrap knives, punch knives, and sickles. Anything with a blade shorter than a sword. It tells you what it attacks and defends with. Nice. Versatility can be used one-handed without a modifier. Players may hold one in each hand. Okay, cool. You've got your ranges. You've got properties. So each one has different weapons have different properties. Yeah, for example, knives have slide property. Anyone holding a knife has advantage on checks to no longer be caught. Advantages caught with a capital C. That's an actual game mechanic. Attacks against the target the wielder has caught bypass AP. Nice. So knives are specifically meant for when you're grabbing someone, you've caught them, and then you just shiv them from the side. Shiv, 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 shiv. Basically, because you get advantage on those attacks with a knife. Meanwhile, a club, for example, has the property crushing, which means that damage from clubs always bypasses one armor point. See, so I like this, and of course the different levels, because it gives each weapon a range. You've got from an improvised shiv, which breaks on strings attached. Strings attached means you roll an at 20. And the quality, changes the damage. So you can have a whole variety. You can have a basic knife or a fancy knife, etc., etc. But also, it gives you a reason to, okay, well, if it takes a fancy knife to do 1d8, but I can do 1d8 with a basic axe, then why would I bother getting a fancy knife? Well, because a fancy knife is going to have this slide quality, while an axe will separately have this reckless quality, which is a whole thing that I'm not going to read right now, but it looks like basically just lets you keep attacking. It basically lets you do the reckless attack. Yeah, from D&D. You gain advantage die on the attack with a disadvantage on defense rolls. Pretty straightforward. So again, each weapon specifically, and this is something this came long before. I think didn't D&D 2024 do something like this, where I think it added something like this. This game had it before, so boom. I like it. Okay, I like their approach. I like their approach to. Ooh, here we go. Okay, let's look at distance weapons. Look at these firearms, and see if there's something here that's going to make me reconsider my thoughts on the gunslingers. Right? Let's see if that's an actual thing that's about to happen or not. Wish me and the gunslingers luck, shall we? So. Handguns, speed, fire one-handed. So literally that's it. We've got handguns and we've got rifles. Cool. Basic information. Strings attached. If you roll a nat 20, strings attached with a handgun. Just make a knowledge check, or the weapon breaks and it's unusable until it is repaired. Cool. That sucks. They don't do that much damage either. And they have a limited capacity. Alright, yeah. Alright, Masterwork just has lots more rounds. Rifles, the most common rifles, but I'm sure of bolt action rifles. One-man action. If you roll, the weapon breaks, strings attached. Again, not great. Okay, so I have to think the firearms have a higher chance of breaking when not used. But yes, no. So this is the basic chance of breaking. A gunslinger makes these rolls, I believe, at advantage. The knowledge check that this takes, I believe they do it at advantage if you're a gunslinger. So it's harder for your gun to break if you're a gunslinger. Gunslingers get some advantages on that. But I have to assume that being a distance combatant, staying out of the line of fire, well, line of attack, I guess, a front line, is just so good at keeping you alive, which makes sense. When we did look at the gunslingers, they are very mobile, but so are several of the other classes that are also up front combatants, and attacks of opportunity are not really a thing except for certain specific classes or abilities. So you can, with those more mobile classes like a dog girl, or the gas lamper on their horse, those already allow you to move in, whack, and then move away again, so you don't get whacked back. Because again, by default, no such thing as attack of opportunity. So how is that? Is that equal to, or less useful, or more useful than a gunslinger who is going to just basically do their best to always stay at the distant or far away from the enemies, which means only other enemies that have guns can get them. I don't know. I feel weird. I feel weird. Pre-roll ads are disabled for 35 minutes, says my screen. Cool. Don't know what that means. Don't know what that means. Um, good. Anyway, I don't know. I continue. I would need to. I suspect I would need to straight up play this, right? To see. I would need to play out a combat and see if I'm missing something, because again, this feels underpowered is one word, but more, it feels boring compared to the rest of this. Is I think the best way I can put this. It feels boring compared to what I can do with the rest of these weapons. Which, if your goal is to make guns less attractive to players, fine, I guess. I don't disagree with that goal, but then don't make a character class that is all about the guns, you know? Or just don't put guns in the game. I don't know, man. I don't know. This is the one part of this game that I keep bumping into that. Well, no. I was gonna say I would just sorry. I would just remove the gunslingers, but no. I'm not gonna remove them because they're tied to an entire culture in the game. But I suspect I would make it an NPC culture without. And again, this is pure personal preference, and I'm not saying I would change the way the gunslingers are written or the outsider culture in the game is written. I have no problems with that. I like the vibes overall. I just have a hard time looking at those mechanics and thinking that that's going to be fun to play, and it's specifically the mechanics. So I would probably do a lot of house ruling again, personal, for me. I'm not saying it is bad, the game is bad, or anything like that. It is not. But I don't think that class rises to the levels of fun that the other classes are giving us. And I'm gonna stop bitching about that now, because I have literally spent 4 episodes now of this review doing that. Other than that, though, again, I like this. I like the exotic weapons. Look at that. Each blowguns are all of a sudden. I chose those as a example earlier, and I like that each level of blowgun has an entire little paragraph of extra stuff it can do. Love that. Bolt throwers, same thing with these exotic ones. Okay, bombs. So bombs. So that's interesting. Bombs just have the basic level. All bombs are basic. ABAB. All bombs are basic. Requiring a reputation of 2 to acquire what factions and supply them. Okay, fine. Attacks with strength, attacks with speed, the signs for combat use to be some of the enemy. The average bomb is a circular metal shell packed with explosives that would fuse. Although clackers often modify their bombs to take on other forms and make use of different detonators. So let's go back to the clackers real quick, because bombs are pretty basic. All bombs are basic. Let's go back to the clackers real quick and see what they can do with bombs. Because there's 2 things that I'm worried about with the bombs. Because they are a big deal. Other classes get to play with bombs too. Everybody really gets to play with bombs if they really want to. But clackers are the ones. So you can modify bombs. You gain a vantage die to check and disarms. Bomb buddies. You can make bomb buddies. So really, it's the bomb buddy stuff really that makes them more interesting. You also have the combat abilities. You can attempt to disarm a bomb that lands close to them, which is dope. Okay, so it's mostly here, and it's less about. Oh, I mean, again, this is not. This is an example. This is the example. You get different effects with the bombs. So you can make them fly. You can make them triggered. You can turn this. So they don't ever do extra damage, which is interesting. Like bombs are meant to be a day-to-day thing in this friggin' game. But you do get a variety of effects, like smoke or landmine or acid, which keeps eating at you, or they're flying, so you can reach different areas and whatnot. They're interesting. Versus, no, I'm not going to go back. I was about to go back to the gunslinger. Point is, gunslingers just get like, no, I don't know, man. Gotta stop complaining. Gotta stop complaining. Anyway, bombs. So my concern with bombs, not a concern. Honestly, it just feels weird that there aren't bigger bombs described here. Um, is there something? Radius. Okay, so the main thing, I guess, is this. Yeah, I guess they don't have to do that much extra damage because their main thing. So okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting something. Let's see here. First of all, there we go. Camera, chill. All right. Bombs do have some limitations. Bombs are more like grenades, right? Exactly. These are grenades. Which. But these are grenades, and so by default, their range is either close or nearby, and their radius affects all close to where the detonation occurs. So let's go back. We have 4 ranges. We have close, which is basically would be melee range, basically. Nearby, which is just out of melee range, and then distant, which is basically gun range, like distant weapon range, and then far away, which is just far away. I'm doing a great job at explaining that. But so bombs you can either drop one right where you are and then get caught in it, or just one area away, nearby, so you don't get caught in it, but it will affect everybody in the same area as the one that you're throwing it to. Everybody who's in close range with where the detonation occurs. So that's our main thing, right? The bombs are addressed to whom it may concern. And the clackers, they can do extra things with them. Cool. The level 5 ability of the ex-Marines, which is they basically turn their main weapon into a bomb thrower. The main thing that it seems to do, and by doing that you prevent your main weapon from being used as a regular gun, is that it lets you launch bombs. It's a grenade launcher. It lets you launch these bombs, these grenades, to distant and far ranges, which is good, and will, if the enemies are all grouped up and far away, it's a great way to say hello. But that damage, I feel like there should be levels of bombs. Maybe clackers should have the ability to craft fine, fancy, and maybe even masterwork bombs. Like I feel like there should be the ability to craft better bomb ammo, and it's a little weird that it's not there. I guess all bombs are basic, sure, but custom bomb, like I don't know. It just feels like my hesitation there is specifically because you made it so there's something that requires a top level. So this game tops out level 5. You made it that there's an ability that requires you to be at top level, that just lets you deliver these same 1d6 bombs you've had since level 1 a little further, which is fine. But I feel like at level 5, either you should let me throw a cluster of these, or there should be more powerful weaponry, more powerful bombs, especially since sooner or later we're going up to silver. All right, 1d6 little grenades ain't gonna cut it when we're up in silver. So I don't know. Again, house rule for me, I guess, is how I would probably handle that. But it feels odd, right? That's why I keep harping on it. It's like a point of friction that I'm not sure why that's happening there. So interesting. Crossbows, Mancatcher, cool, and the Vapors, which cool. Yeah, we already saw that the Patchworkers have. I went right to the page. Nicely done, Dan. The different abilities that you can pick up and you can do with the Vapor besides just the base 1d4 damage. So that's very cool. I keep moving out of range of this camera. Stop that, Dan. Stop that. Okay, we've got a little reference chart. Nice. Good to have. Quick reference there. Tools. Oh, never mind. Never mind. Never mind. To the developers of this game, my apologies. I am literally just reading through the book as I go and talking out my ass as I get to each page. This is my brand. I'm never going to get sponsored for a review because this is how I do this, right? Because we just got to the Bomb Maker's Tools, and the first thing I see in Bomb Maker's Tools, the first darn thing we see is larger explosives. Okay, so look at here. I guess that we do get a little bit of explanation. Let's see. These tools include all of the gear and supplies required to make, set, or disarm various kinds of explosives found in Penumbra City. Bomb Maker's tools are mostly used to make, set, and disarm larger explosives outside of the smaller bombs used in combat. Anyone proficient with bombs is proficient with the Bomb Maker's tools. Bombs that are used during combat cannot be made, only acquired through reputation. Interesting. So basically, they just want to make it so that so that the bigger explosives just are not for combat. Period. Right there. Interesting. I don't know. I'd say. I mean, that's just me. Also, editing. Why is this level stuff? What is happening there? Anyway. Yeah. So, but then here, see, it can get so detailed, and here again, it feels like this is because the GM and players may wish to explore the world of larger explosives than the bomb that is used as a combat weapon. Bomb Maker's tools can be used to make, set, and disarm larger explosives. Because explosives are so variable, the specific details are left up to the GM. Suggestions are listed. So it's very much like, we don't want to do that work, which I get. I don't want to do the work. And me and large explosives feel like a setting-changing item. I didn't need the foundation of the book. No, I know. I get that. I just feel like there is a space in between does 1d6 damage in combat and brings down the Tower of the God King, right? There's a space between those two levels of bombs where I feel you could still have more potent and maybe more dangerous, but more powerful immediate action guns or bombs rather. I don't know. Then again, okay, so here's how we get around that, right? Here's how we get around that with and the game. Okay, the book is having. I'm having a conversation with the book. The book is having a conversation with me as I'm scrolling through. Here it is. Rules as intended in homebrewing rules. Whenever a rule is unclear or ambiguous, it's important to interpret that rule as you believe it was intended, rather than specifically trying to sort out exactly how it was written. Furthermore, the GM, with the consent of the players, should consider abandoning or altering any rule that they see fit in order to maximize the fun with the entire group. Process generally referred to as homebrewing rules, right? Which is kind of what we're doing here, right? It is not a disrespect of the game. It's just like certain things don't fit how I would approach it, so that I'm explaining how I would approach those things. Conversation with the book. Well done. But rules as written, here's how you kind of make that more interesting. Because at level 5, hopefully you got a clacker with you, right? And so the clacker will have at level 5 a few of these, like the acid bomb or the smoke bomb. Maybe not the landmine for what I'm thinking of, but like acid, smoke bomb, or a targeted bomb, which is cool. If you want to just hit one target, I guess. See, here's the thing that I would do. For example, targeted, you go, okay, cool. Since this one is no longer to whom it may concern, right? This one is the specific person. Then this one does 1d8 or even 1d10 damage instead of just the 1d6 to everyone in the area, stuff like that. But also, you've got these fancier bombs, right? And then you've got the ex-Marines. Here we go, level 5 needs a cannon, which requires level 5, as I just said. And they basically can turn their bolt thrower into a cannon. When it's a cannon, it cannot shoot bolts or grapples, only bombs. can be fired up to distance without penalty or far away with disadvantage die. So that's where at level 5, okay, cool. Now the clacker gives me a bunch of acid bombs or smoke bombs, and then I can, as the ex-marine, I can load them into my modified bolt weapon and fling them into the fortifications that are a far distance away. So going back to the whole theme of this game being, you know, cooperation and community building and all that, okay, and that may be part of what I'm missing here, right? I'm looking at a lot of these characters and abilities solo, right? I'm looking at how they work all on their own, but when you actually put them together with other people at the table, other characters, you might you might discover some synergies like we just did there. Still weird that only happens at level 5 for those two. Still some things I would homebrew. I feel like there should be an option for scaling up a bomb damage beyond, you know, separate from just going from the basic 1d6 to, you know, bring down a building, right? And then at that point the game is just telling you like, you know, figure it out, make it up yourself. Which fine. I don't need an engineering handbook. I don't need a full dive into the specific, you know, sheer strength of various materials in the city, right? No, at that point, yeah, to figure it out. But there's a whole middle ground there that I think we can play with. Hey, Apprentice, hey, buddy, welcome in. Audio seems slow. So I got that again. You know what? No. Give me a second. Audio seems slow. I might be able to do something about that. Let me see here. There we go. Is that better? Worse? Is that noticeable at all? I raised the output on my main thing. So hopefully, if that, just let me know if that made any kind of difference. I'll keep going in the meantime. Let's see. So we've got the engineer's tools. Very well. All right. So it's for repairing stuff, repairing vehicles. Cool. So there's basic guidelines on that, and I approve of that. But you can get away with the basic levels. Okay. My Command C tools. Okay. So this is good. We've got a lot more detail on actually how to use these tools to make antidotes, how to use them for patchworking. We've got actual details on that. Good to know, because I was a little worried when I didn't see a lot of that in the patch patchworker. Yeah, patchworkers. Patchers. Anyway, I did not see. Yeah, patchworker. That's literally right there. A lot of detail on that, but I guess this is a better place to cover it. I do wish the book did a better job of like in that chapter, in that patchworker it should have maybe had a link like see page page 203. Apologies if that is coming through. My cat decided this is now the time for litter box time. I'm editing that out of the YouTube version. But anyway, I wish there was a link, like see the full patchworking mechanics. Okay, cool. Thank you for that. No notable change in audio. This is weird because I'm literally using the same setup as before. Is it? Let me see here. I know I shouldn't be messing with it too much. I'm not going to. Oh wait, are you? Wait a minute. Has my microphone just been the wrong one all this time? Bitch, it might have been. All right. Yeah, last time it was perfect. All right, bear with me. I actually do need to fix this because I've been at this for an hour, and I suspect I may be using. No, this is speaker. No, microphones. Yeah, maybe using the wrong device. Bear with me a moment. In fact, let me just mute myself in OBS in case I'm about to do some horrible sounds.
All right, is that better? I feel like that one might be actually spiking. There we go. All right, is that better? Worse? Better. Okay, yeah. So I was using the wrong mic this whole time. That's gonna be fun to edit later. I'm a professional. I'm trying to do more of this. God damn it. Which I think it was picking up the mic on my spare webcam. I should just unplug that. I never use that webcam. I should just have it unplugged so that I can actually use the fancy. There it is. There it is. Fancy little wireless microphone that I've got strapped to my chest. Well, that'll do it. That'll do it. Let's get back to it. Yeah, no, definitely. I when it said it was low and I hadn't changed any other settings, I really should have taken that a little bit more seriously. But I thought it really did look like I had the right mic. Oh well. Oh well. Let's continue. Anyway, lots more detail on the Mycomancy tools, which I appreciate that. On how to do this again, I just wish they had maybe done a bit of a see page 203 for more details, blah blah blah. On the other hand, that is counterbalanced. Oh, let me hide the little receiver there. This is, by the way, little inside baseball for y'all down there. That's the little wireless receiver for the HoloLand mics that I'm actually using now, which hopefully should be far better quality than what you had before. So, and don't worry, Afritas, this was not your fault. This was on me. I'm an hour and a half into the stream and I just realized I was using the wrong mic. I'm a goddamn professional is what I am. Goddamn professional. I please like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Get down, and if you're watching this on YouTube and I didn't cut this part out, I probably did. But if not, get in the comments and tell me how much I suck, please. Engagement. But anyway, I was gonna say the fact that he didn't put a link to the page for more information, I kind of had to find this. One of the reasons why you would put a link to the page is because it would reassure people like me who don't see any more in the character section and go, oh, wait, where's the info? It's not here. And there's no link or go like see page blah 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 for more details. So I guess I have to assume that this is it, and then I get sad. But if you go like, see page whatever for more, oh, cool. There's going to be more details on that, which is good to have as a character who will be doing the thing in the game a lot. That's my approach. I'm being real catty at this game, which is funny considering how much I like it. But also, again, it's just little editing things that really would have gone a long way, that I think would have helped just assuage my doubts. Like how much of my bitching about, for example, this whole bomb makers thing, and would have been derailed, right? Or would have been preempted if I'd known that there was a section where you're going to address these larger explosives, preferably linked, as soon as we talk about bombs in the Fungalian thing, Here would be a great page in the bomb making progression thing right away. Go like, also see page 201 for more details on making bombs. And then I would have been able to look real quick and like, oh, so that's your approach to larger explosives. Cool. Or not cool, or whatever. But I would have known that instead of spending all this time, all of this, just going, I don't know if there are bombs, just saying. It would have protected you from annoying assholes like me. Game creators, please, if you're watching, and I know all of you are, every single game creator out there, I'm just giving you this wisdom for free. All right, let's continue. Ritual tools, cool. So stuff you can do with rituals. It's in ritual tools, cool. And the occultist, okay, and then the different levels, what you can get away with for the different levels. Interesting, smaller than expected, but cool. thieves' tools and what you can do with them. So this is an interesting approach. A lot of, and I guess it's just like a difference in methodology here, or in pedagogy here, I guess, in just in how it's being presented. I've seen a lot of games that will go like, will present you with a list of actions and things you can do in your game. So there would be a section where it would have, for example, climbing and breaking and entering and tracking with ritual tools and foraging and getting high, which is the part I skipped earlier. What I was going to say about the mycomancy tools that almost made me forgive not having a page link is the fact that there is a section about getting high. I appreciate that in the game. But anyway, there's all these actions, right? In a lot of other games, and I'm not saying this is necessarily better or worse, it's just a different approach, right? A lot of other games would have presented these actions and gone like, these actions require a mycomancy toolkit, or, these actions require thieves' tools. Here instead, you are presented with the tool and told what you can do with, like the types of actions that you can do with those. It's interesting. I like it. I'm not opposed to this. It is a slightly different approach to learning what I can do. Just because I might not. I guess it makes sense in this game because there is a bit of a focus on, you do need these specific things. You do need to have mycomancy tools. You do need to have engineer's tools, even if they're improvised, but you do need to have them, ritual tools, to do certain things, right? So I guess it would make sense to then address those things that you can do within the description of the tools itself, right? So it's a different approach. It's not a bad thing or a good thing. It's just a different approach that I am noticing, which is fine. I like that. And then now we're going to the vehicles and mounts. So the dog's wheels, these are the, check them out. Look at those chunky motorcycles. I kind of love them. The dog's wheels. And then horses, what they can do, what you can do with them, basic levels. Again, kind of surprised that there aren't like fine horses and, like different levels. It's just that one. Like the dog's wheels have multiple levels. I feel like you should be able to get a higher quality horse. We have horse boys. I guess the horse boys do kind of get a kind of semi-magical horse. It's not semi-magical, it's just very well trained. Sorry, we are going back. I want to see real quick what the gas lampers. Let's see here. Horseback warriors. So horses, you have to make a will check to calm the horse if it takes damage. And a failure, you're thrown off. When strings attached, you lose your move action trying to calm the horse. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. And they can do these things, basic things. So a horse boy, they have an actual character. The gas lampers, they don't have to make those checks. They don't have to make the checks to calm the horse. They can move more with the horse. They get advantage of making speed checks when they're on the horse. And it's a special, well-trained horse. So basically, it's just horse and gas lamper horse, and that's it. And the gas lamper horse has the same stats. It's just that when working with a gas lamper, it's super dope. It's extra super horse. Okay, I'm fine with that. I still feel like it is. I just feel like there are some items that don't have multiple levels that I feel should have multiple quality levels, if that makes any sense. Horses is one of them. Nitpick. I am literally just nitpicking at this point. I love this game. I want more horses. I'm just a man standing in front of a very expensive camera, asking a game creator who's never met him to give him more horses. That's all I am. That's what I bring. That's what I bring to this to the internet. That is who I am as a person, and quite possibly the reason I remain unemployed. Hey, look, rowboat stats. Rowboats get all sorts of, look at this, rowboat mechanics, depending on whether you're in calm intention or combat and how to use them. That is a surprising level of detail. The robots have multiple levels. Why don't the horses have multiple levels, huh? I, I don't know. All right, so this is cool. This part I've been looking for is this services. So back here, when we look at the various factions, right, we saw that they are willing to provide certain services by reputation cost. So, for example, the children have these 3 services. Fungus that gets people high, for example. A big fan of the children already, love them. But also, they have the equipment and stuff that they offer. But here, and actually, wasn't there a list earlier? I think under reputation. Let me see. I believe in the reputation section. Let's go back. This is actually worth going through. Hit points, reputation. Okay, so in the reputation section, you got a reputation, disposition, equipment, and services. I could have sworn I saw. Maybe it's here. Let's see. I could have sworn I had seen a list of the specific services that a faction can offer. Did I miss that? Did I make that up? I might have. Faction access to gear, equipment access by reputation. Do we have a services by reputation? No, this is just in the equipment section. Maybe it's later on. Give me a second. Give me a second. No, it's not here. So I swear I'd seen it. Anyway, these are the services that you can get from the various factions, and your reputation level with them will detail. So if you're getting different levels of... So this is just generic. This is aid. The kinds of aid that a faction will give you based on your reputation. So for example, okay, yeah, so this is varies per faction, never mind. So for example, a reputation 2 with your average faction, some faction will provide a guide or companion at this level as long as the danger is minimal. Companion will not put themselves in harm's way if a fight breaks out, but they will provide support. If it looks like the fight will be lost, your companion might run away. So that's the level of help you might get at level 2 with a faction. While at level 4, many members of a faction will support a party in a long and dangerous adventure as long as the odds are favorable or cause is aligned with their goals. So again, this is just a general level, okay, of what the aid you can expect from a faction based on your reputation. Okay, difference engines. See? Again, see page 212 for more information on difference engines. All the way back here somewhere, would have gotten a lot less bitching from me. Just saying. That said, I'm glad it's here, because now we have a whole history of difference engines, what you can do. The skips have a difference engine they salvaged years ago, which they call Mother. That's dope. Cool, actually, very cool that the kids, the skips living in the streets, technically have a salvaged difference engine that they call Mother. I mean, that's cool. That's dope. I like that. Again, this game has all these little moments. I love that. Here's what the actual difference engines do. Okay, so let's actually take a look at these. Let's dive a little into the levels, because these are important. There's a whole character class that it's all about accessing these and having access to a fine quality difference engine right under the streets and all this stuff. So let's see what you can get with the various levels. So at a basic difference engine, the machine is portable, sort of. Requires a horse-drawn wagon to move. Answers are so specific as to not be incredibly useful and will only reflect a limited amount of knowledge on the part of the machine. Answers are less than 25% accurate and include at least one contradictory element. The answer does not indicate its percentage of accuracy. Fine. Okay, so basically difference engines just... Yeah, I guess we do have to actually go here. So we do actually have to read a little on the whole, how it is. So a proficient user can ask a difference engine any question after feeding it information. After 10 minutes on a successful knowledge check, it will answer as clearly as its level of complexity will allow, which is what we're seeing over here. On a failed knowledge check, it will answer in an unclear but still technically truthful way. This seems like current AI technology, honestly. Each machine can answer at one level higher up to masterwork by giving it a full day instead of 10 minutes. I like that. Interesting approach. Answers come printed in a code that is understandable to any who are proficient with difference engines. Once a week, a difference engine will, without being prompted, print out a cryptic message that probably doesn't make sense. This is a result of the machines constantly, at some level, computing information. Some analysts think of the printouts as nonsense, the waste remnants of computational functions, while some think of the messages as the dreams of the difference engines that should be pondered. That's plot right there. A difference engine remembers the last 3 questions it was asked, and the answers can be recalled in 1 minute. No amount of reputation will persuade a faction to relinquish a functional difference engine, only to provide access to it. Cool. So basics are portable and very inaccurate. Fine are big, size of a small building, and 50% accuracy, vague alternate possibilities. Fancy is a large warehouse. The machine will understand the questioner's intent and take it into consideration in the answer, and will explain its reasonings. They come printed with at least a 75% chance of accuracy and offer several alternate possibilities, along with reasons for listing the alternate possibilities. That's dope. That also sounds like a lot of work for the GM to come up with, but dope. But then again, there's not a lot of fancy or masterwork difference engines out there, so it's not like this is a regular thing that your party will usually have access to. Let's see, masterwork. The machine occupies the space of one of the giant step pyramids in Old Town. Yes, there are giant pyramid difference engines that are consulted for answers to the future. The machine is nearly prophetic, capable of generating information that there's no rational explanation for how it would have. There are only 2 known to exist, one of which is functional and one of which is long broken. Answers come printed out with at least a 95% chance of accuracy and offer insight into its 5% of doubt. That's really cool in the sense that right there, that's a quest. That could be its own arc. Breaking in, getting into to where these pyramidal giant difference engines are, so you can get that answer. And that's the kind of answer that the GM would definitely have to spend some time, building up to percent, right? But this is a whole campaign arc right there. I like that. Okay, and then details on food. Details on healing that you can get, again, for the different levels of reputation. Seraphic healing, which, as we stated, is fucked up. Information you can get from the various factions. I dig that. Shelter you can get. Transportation you can get. This is great. That's great. This is all good because they're all the main things that you would, you as a party would probably be looking for. Access to information, to food, to healing, to shelter, to transportation, and just a generic, we need help in the thing that we are doing. And you get very clear guidelines on what is provided at each level of reputation. I was originally worried that this was going to be very, very wishy-washy, and it's not, and I absolutely love that. Because again, not enough games that provide a sort of or want you to do that whole coalition building vibe and all that. They don't always have an actual mechanic behind that. They don't always have actual benefits to the party for doing these things. So the fact that this is codified here, big fan of that. Love it. Absolutely love it for this game. Let's see, enemies and the occasional friend. Okay, so this is people and NPC. Okay, stat blocks for NPC allies or NPC enemies. So we're just kind of gonna go, just look them over real quick. Like fishers are bounty hunters and something like assassins. Cool. So these are cool. Oh, these are the lampreymen. Okay, so these are NPCs. I like, okay, so you've got your HP, you've got your armor points, you've got the type of attacks they do and details. So they're not necessarily very compact stat blocks, but they are detailed. They're meant, these are not mooks, right? They are meant to be enemies that pose a real threat, have their own abilities, give the GM a lot of different options. Ooh, I like that art for the Goeticists, right? Yeah, look at that. Let's bring that up to the camera a little bit. Look at that. Beautiful, huh? All right. So these guys channel Inferno. That's great. That's great. They have demons. Who doesn't love demons. No one likes goeticists, not even other goeticists. Great, love that. The Hands of God, these are those fucked up healers. Great, love those. The Hogsmen, the Lords of the New Order want something. So these are just nice. And then an actual hog. Cool, Hogsmen and their hogs. They have a guard pig. Again, this game, it really does have all the things that I want out of a game in so many ways. Investigators and all their abilities, love that. Kingsmen, these are just Templars and score at different levels of guards. The Saints, higher level commanders, they definitely want you to go to war with the silver. Look at all these enemies. Under Knights, oh yeah, you are meant to fight those fuckers. Let's see, not quite people anymore. The Beasts of Hern. So if you leave town, there's a solid chance you'll run into these guys. They're not great. Feather Scars, Aquatic Chimeras. Oh, so there's multiple types. Oh, I like this. I was also a little bit worried about that because they mentioned the Beasts of Hern, who are vivisected half animal, half human monsters, and they're referred to a few times. And I thought it was just going to end up being sort of a werewolf kind of thing. They're all werewolves, they're all just beast men. But no, it looks like we have different varieties. Fuck. Yeah. Oh, this is really dope. You got Feather Scars, Aquatic Chimeras to combine the upper half of the human with the body of a feather star. Look at that. That's dope. Feather Scar's hands have also been modified to be clawed and webbed. Their lungs have been modified to absorb oxygen. So that's, yeah. Gliders or humans have been twisted into a strange creature as akin to a flying squirrel as to a person. That's horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. Locust dogs, mostly people, some animals. The Hernian locust dogs are mostly bug with a little bit of human. Look at them. There they are. Those will be, you'll be seeing those in your nightmare tonight. Enjoy that. Oh, these are horrifying. And then the officers have different heads. Do they have multiple heads? No. Yes! They look like humans with 2 extra animal heads sewn to their shoulders. And their legs are replaced with those of a bull. That's horrifying. I love it. I want to throw that on my players. Tunnelers. Those are just big feet. I like them. We got stats on the God Kings. Okay, wait a minute. I gotta read the beginning of this. God Kings, yeah, I know, they're kind of a big deal, and there's only a few of them, and we talked for a little while about, like, maybe Ath should get his own whole chapter since we're trying to overthrow him. But, honestly, being petty seemed like more fun. So here's Ath and the rest of his ilk under not quite people anymore. I love it. Fuck these guys. So that's a God King right there. Let's just go ahead and get him on camera for you. There you go. Appreciate the God King. We've got a whole description. Almost indescribably powerful. Not intended for players to fight head on without an entire campaign's worth of preparation. Yep, we're not going to get stats because these are gods. They're God Kings. But I like that there's a little chapter talking about them. Patchwork dolls. Ooh, look at that art. That's horrifying. There we go. Yeah, absolutely friggin' horrifying. Let's see. Oh yeah, Jesus would absolutely love these. Let's see. Patchwork dolls. If you're headed into the Undercity, maybe you'll get lucky and catch sight of a real-life patchwork doll and see what all the fuss is about. Just kidding. It's not lucky. These mindless yet living creatures used to be people, and it sure seems like they're the puppet of something, but who only knows what? Maybe that thing that the gloaming calls the foreboding? The patchwork dolls are pretty easy to recognize. Their skin is all patched together, they tend to drool a lot, some of them have shelf fungus growing off their body, and they're as likely as not trying to eat you. So these are the what's that game? I'm not that big of a video game person, so what's the game with the fungus people, with the cordyceps? Chat, what's the name? They got a TV show recently. Anyway, they're the monsters from that. That's horrifying. There's also vampires in this game. Cool. Basic vampires. They have bite. They can paralyze you. Neat. I like that. Last of Us. That's the one. Thank you, chat. Last of Us. And now straight up not people. Angels. Minor angels. Cultist friends, they hang out in the ether, do their thing. They don't mess with astral travelers. Once they're on the material, though, it gets messy. They don't belong here. They know it, and they go a little unhinged. It's why no one worth trusting drags them over into our world. Just theurgists who enslave them and hands of God who sacrifice them. Sometimes some get loose, and it's a whole new sort of problem. So look at that. They look like children. These are purified souls of people that then get sacrificed for healing. But they also suck your soul. Yeah, I like that. But there's multiple enemies. Greater angels. Yep, there we go. Archangels. So lots of eyes. I like that. The art is very clear on that. So cool. Attack and dethrone. Let's go punch God in the face. Big fan of the ability to do that in any game. Meanwhile, if you've got angels, you've also got demons, which is nice. The Asmir. Strange that in the golems. Malabranch, a human-like marionette with wings stitched together from giant carnivorous swamp cranes and a long tail with a steel barb. I'm kind of glad we don't get art on that one. Yeah, okay, so we've got some really fucked up monsters. I love that. I actually do wish we got more art on the monsters. One of my few complaints on this game is that I wish there was more art, which I get. Getting art is hard. Being able to commission enough art for everything is very difficult and can get very expensive. Pay your artists. So I'm not going to hold it too much against them, but these are some really cool monster descriptions and concepts. I do wish we'd gotten some art for them. The ones we did get are pretty cool. Fungal colonies, cool. Chunks of mycelium tendrils rove around the caverns and tunnels to wanderers. So we got fungus. We got moving fungus people and fungus creatures. A whole section on giant carnivorous swamp cranes. With everything else that's happening, I don't think it's fair that we have to deal with giant carnivorous swamp cranes. But if there's one thing that my mom liked to beat into my head, besides a wooden spoon, is that life isn't fair. I love it. There's a whole point of the giant carnivorous swamp cranes. Hot jacks. So these guys, I guess. Monsters, cool. Monstrous centipedes. Those are great. Look at those guys. I'm not going to bring them close to the camera. You can just enjoy them as is. Rat swarms. Street cleaners. Huh. All right, let's go. Let's read on the street cleaners. It seemed like a good idea at first. I mean, it wouldn't have to anyone. Sorry, let's start from the beginning. It seemed like a good idea at first. I mean, it wouldn't have to anyone with a lick of common sense, but no one accuses Silvers of common sense. See, the streets are grimy because of smog. Acid cleans up that grime right quick. If only there were, bear with me here, giant cubes of acidic jelly that roam the streets, cleaning off the stone. What could go wrong? It's not like anyone sleeps on the... Oh, lots of people sleep on the streets. Anyway, there are giant cubes of acidic jelly called street cleaners roaming silently around the city at night, and they kill an awful lot of animals and people, and half the assholes in the Silver just see that murder as an extension of their job, cleaning the streets. The only thing that helps us deal with them is that they're afraid of fire and sunlight. They started as a sort of magical construct, handmade by mages from the Silver, but they've got a life of their own now, and no one is quite sure of their life cycle. It seems likely that once they've consumed enough, they split in half through a process called mitosis. My editor didn't say anything, but I saw her face when she read that paragraph, and she's obviously surprised I know that word, but it turns out you don't have to go to school for words to know words. The gelatinous cubes are full of neat stuff, though, because they digest animal bits, but not metal, and gangs of orphans sometimes grab torches and hunt them down. So we've got gelatinous cubes. Look at that, little homage to one of the classic old-school D&D monster, except, horrifying, because they're not down in the dungeons. They're employed by the rich to clean the streets that they never visit anyway, down below. And if their street cleaners occasionally devour an entire group of homeless people, oh well. This game is great. For soup, for revolution, we did it. We did it. Boys, we did it. We got to the end of the game. I knew we were going to get to the rest of this game a lot quicker once we stopped deep diving so much. Got full. So let's just read the last bit of this, and as we sign off, and then we give some final last thoughts on the game. So, for soup, for revolution. Well, there you go. That's the Visitor's Guide to Penumbra City. It's been a labor of love by us in the Irani Federation, and we hope you find it useful. It's not objective, it's not perfect, but it's what we've got. If you feel like it, come over and say hi to us in the plaza. We'll be there, with revolution on our lips and soup. Between our lips? That sounds sort of gross. Revolution and soup. That's what we've got to offer. Help us make both. So there we go, nice. And then we've got our character sheets. We've got reputation trackers. We've got a filled sample character sheet and little filled reputation tracker for that character here in the end. Just an example of what it looks like. And that is it. That is Penumbra City, a World of Harrow game. Now let's gather some final thoughts here, folks. Let's get some final thoughts on this game. So first of all, big recommend. Overall, big recommend on this game. You know what? Let's go ahead and switch over to let's swap over to the main screen where you just get my absolutely ginormous face, and I'm going to step back a little. That's the good thing about having the wireless mic. I can step back and still speak clearly, and now my face is not quite so giant. It's more of a bust situation now. So, Penumbra City. I like it. Big fan. Thumbs up. Recommend. Mainly for the setting, the game world. If you are in the market, if you are in the mood for sort of dark, horrifying, yet snarky and fun revolution against a tyrannical god king, this game is here for you. It is waiting for you. It is set up and ready to give you exactly what you want, especially if you are into high weirdness, some body horror. It's got a little bit of everything. If you like, you can go out into the world a little bit and explore. It's meant to be contained to the city, but within the city there's enough variety. There's a little undercity where you can go exploring. There's dark and terrifying things. There's angels and demons all the way up to there, just like there's a whole other city that you're going to hopefully someday attack. And yet with all that, it's not just some standard D&D adventure clone, right? It's also a community building game. Your characters start off fairly powerful and remain fairly powerful overall throughout the game. There is progression and extra abilities that you gain, so that's cool. The quality of those can vary from character to class, but there's also, a lot of that might be personal preference. But overall, it's a really good approach. And the fact that this game has really good mechanics for that faction building and that reputation management, and it gives the characters well-defined benefits and rewards for that, is huge, big, huge fan of that. So with all that in mind, I can't recommend this highly enough. I was going to say cannot recommend. I can. It's a good game. You should check it out. That said, some minor caveats. It may feel, it's very much tuned to tell one specific kind of story, I feel, even though I just said it's got a lot of variety, and it does. You can do that, but it's really meant for one specific kind of story. That may be a plus or a minus in your book, depending on what you're looking for. I feel like this game really shines when you approach it with the attitude that it's asking from you, right? When you approach it with that sort of like, I'm here to bring down the God King. I'm here for the revolution. I'm here to build that coalition. If you've got the buy-in, then I think this is going to be a lot of fun, especially for the right groups. There's some minor editing things in the book. Again, I do wish that there was some small quality of life stuff. For example, I don't see, while there is an index, a basic index, there's no glossary, there's there's a table of contents. There's no index. There's a table of contents. I could have used an index. This game definitely could have benefited from one. Likewise, in a few other places, there were some lists that should have been numbered that were not. I would have liked to see a lot of, or not a lot, I would have liked to see some pointers to different parts in the guidebook itself to help make certain aspects of the game a little clearer. Like I think some minor organizational hiccups, but nothing that couldn't be fixed with one more pass. If there's ever a second edition of the game, I would be very interested in taking a look and seeing what they do with it. Low points again. Last time I'll say it, the gunslinger. Maybe I'm missing something. Creators of the game, if you watch this, I'm sorry, first of all. But also, I'm legitimately curious. Am I missing something about the gunslingers? Is there something there that I'm not seeing? Maybe was there a different intention with them? But again, I feel like I'm missing something because there's so many other character classes that are so cool and so detailed and so flavorful. And then the outsiders and the gunslingers feel underbaked. I feel like they're just not as cool as the rest of the game, and that's their main sin, right? They're just not quite as cool as the rest of the game is, and the rest of the game is super cool. So all that said, again, big fan, Penumbra City. You should check it out. And I am going to be moving on to the next game in our set of reviews. I don't know if it's going to be quite this many parts for every game, but I hope you enjoyed this. If you didn't, cool, no worries. It's the internet. Plenty of other stuff for you to watch. If you did enjoy this, though, and especially if you're watching this after on YouTube, please give me a like, get on the comments, ask me questions, tell me games you would like me to review next, etc., etc. The next one that I'm going to do. So first of all, let's kind of wrap up this one. So thanks so much for watching this, for hanging out with me, and for taking this deep dive into Penumbra City. And I'm looking forward to the next game. All right, they're gone. There we go. So at this point, everything after this point is getting edited out. So the next game that I think I'm going to do is going to be a lot simpler. I think I want to do. Let me switch out here. I think I'm going to do Cantrip next because it's a lot smaller. It's a lot smaller. It's a simple little lighthearted game of just teen witches going into a magical academy. It's a Cantrip. It's a role-playing game about witches who are coming of age while studying at a magical academy. They will grapple with their place in the world at large, their emotions, their budding relationships, the expectations placed upon them by everyone in their lives, their secrets held by the academy, and the constant scheming of their fellow witches. Which sounds adorable and lots of fun, and that's the one that we're gonna. I'm hoping I can get through this book in a single stream. I don't think it's going to be 4 days worth of streaming to get through this one. It's much more wholesome. Yes, struggle bus definitely. But it looks like fun. So that's the next one, and then after that, I don't know if it's going to be too soon for Gun and Slinger. After that, it might be, just because of I just kept going off on the gunslingers in Penumbra City, so it might be too soon still. But otherwise, I will probably choose between these 3. Blazing Hymn, which is very, very short, but will give me an excuse to talk about Symphogear, which I will do at all times. So any excuse to talk about Symphogear. In fact, for some of these, like Cantrip and Blazing Hymn and stuff, I'm also going to try and have some extra materials. Because if I'm going to talk about Symphogear, I should have some Symphogear to show off, so you actually know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'd say give it at least 3 games between Penumbra City and Gunslinger, less than the direct comparison. Exactly, because that's the thing. It's not a direct comparison. Gunslinger is such a different game. The very concept of it is so different. It's just I am PTSDing about the Gunslinger in that one. Anyway, Blazing Hymn I want to do, or Arc, which just it's beautifully designed. It's a beautifully designed book that I've been meaning to go through forever. You can tell I barely cracked it open, which is a shame because it's so pretty. And look at the back cover on that. I love this blurb in the back. The clock is ticking. Create heroes, explore worlds, and embark on exhilarating adventures as you race against the clock to slay the apocalypse in this tabletop role-playing game. Ready your sword, draw your best spells, for tonight we save the world. Like it's real classic, but at the same time it's I don't know. You know what? We'll get to it. But it is very much like straight up. You are facing the apocalypse. There's an apocalypse coming, and you are building up to that and facing it, and what comes after it, depends on you. But you are the ones facing the apocalypse itself. I like it. And the third one that, again, I don't know what order I'll do these, but it's also Brave Zenith, which is like Cantrip, very much more lighthearted, I think. Adventure after all. The world ended a long time ago, and no one gives a damn. You're an adventurer, ambitious, indebted, and brave. Explore the ruined world of past, present, meet colorful and deadly creatures, see the sights of the second city, partake in delicious monkey oil. The archipelago is your oyster. So it's a more lighthearted, look at that adorable little art. Apparently you can play a chunk of wood, it looks like. Big fan of that. I want to be a wood guy. Look, this is fun. Anyway, looking forward to this one. One of your character classes is apparently a dancer. So you can be a dancer. You can be a mixologist. You can be... Oh, jellies are one of the character classes. You can be like a jelly thing. It's cute. It's cute. I want to play with it. I want to see this. So, yes. Let's see. I should do an honest but brief rewrite of the Gunslinger, stream it, and then send it to the devs. Maybe that's not the worst idea. Not the worst idea, I don't think. I would have to yeah, it feels like Gunslinger was left like that on purpose. Maybe. I said, I don't know if maybe there's a point to it, right? It just feels like if your goal is to make guns less attractive, just don't have them in the game. Don't provide a class that revolves around them and then make them not really fun to use or play, right? All the other classes have their fun. Gunslinger feels like it's not quite as fun, as a player. But again, I might be wrong. Maybe once we played actual combat in the game, you realize, holy shit, it rocks to be a gunslinger. I'm running all over the battlefield. I'm getting shots off. I'm taking people down. I'm not taking a single hit. I am the best, I guess. But even then, like everything I saw for the gunslingers in terms of combat felt like limited. All you're going to do every round is move, shoot. I guess take cover as well. There was a mechanic for that, but I don't know. Maybe again, distance combat. There is a cover mechanic, so maybe combat between people with guns or even gunslingers on both sides might be very tense, very exciting to play through. I have not played through. Keep in mind, this review is just looking through the book for basically the first time, not a play test. So, which is something I would love to do, but that takes other people, and that's going to be a problem. But with all that said, honestly, I think we might just wrap up this stream early today. We've been streaming for a little bit 2 hours. Yeah. You know what? I think we're gonna end the stream here. That's gonna make my editing life a lot easier as well later on. Tomorrow, I am going to stream again in the afternoon, but it might be a little bit later than today. Might actually be starting around 3 or even 4. Not sure, because I actually have a meeting that I need to attend. So with a business person even, who is going to give me business advice for my business. And so that's going to happen tomorrow. But I do fully intend to stream after that's done. Don't get excited, Struggle Bus. Look, they're free meetings. It's a meeting that is free with a business person. They're literally volunteering for this. There's this organization called SCORE, and they basically help small businesses. And since I'm technically trying to set up a small business with all this stuff, so yeah, doing that. We'll see how that goes. And this economy is fucked, by the way. This is not going to work out. I don't actually have big hopes or big expectations. It would be nice though. It'd be nice. We're gonna try. But with that said, I think I'm gonna wrap up. Take it easy today. Maybe do some prep work for tomorrow's stream as well. Also, since tomorrow's stream, all the more reason to do Cantrip tomorrow, since this looks like it's going to be a lot shorter, a lot more lighthearted. So I think it might be a good one to do during our little stream tomorrow. But with that done, thanks so much, guys, for hanging out. I appreciate you. And I will definitely be back tomorrow to start and maybe start and finish looking at Cantrip. We'll see. But otherwise, this was an unexpectedly long look into Penumbra City. I may well have to just re-record this one, honestly. We'll see what the audio quality is like. That the first entire half of this, wrong mic. I'm frustrated. All right. Anyway, thanks so much for hanging out, folks. I will hopefully catch you again later. I'll be doing again the rest of the week. Tomorrow, maybe a little bit later, but we will be doing tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. Weekends are up in the air. I might start doing some streaming on weekends. It depends. We'll see. No guarantees. I might just do it so the weekend streams are more sort of classic video game kind of stuff, and then leave the streams during the week for this, the tabletop RPG bullshit. We'll see how that goes. We are still figuring this shit out. So with that, I bid you all a good afternoon from New York City. And I hope to see you again all sometime soon. Bye.